welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are immersing ourselves in a collection of source material that is, well, it's as bizarre as it is chilling, honestly.
It really is.
We are not here simply to look at lights in the sky or, unexplained aerial phenomena. Frankly, the initial sightings, the floating discs and geometric lights, those are almost just the opening act.
That's right. That's the hook.
Our true mission today is to analyze the unsettling, really systematic pattern of what happens after the sighting, the follow-up.
Exactly. We have accounts from pilots, atmospheric scientists, astrophotographers, just ordinary citizens, too.
Right.
All describing witnessing something that fundamentally challenges, well, everything we think we know about physics. But
right.
When you stack these reports up, like you said, the focus shifts. It moves away from the anomaly itself and toward the chillingly uniform response that follows. We're analyzing the operational blueprint, if you will, of these mysterious high-control figures who show up after these events.
The ones people call the Men in Black, or MIB.
The MIB, yeah. Whether that's exactly what they are, that's part of the question, but the label sticks because the descriptions are so consistent.
And our sources really strongly suggest, a hidden organization. Something dedicated purely to information control, where the methods they use to suppress things are far more consistent, far more standardized than the phenomena they're actually suppressing.
That's the crux of it.
So we want to extract every common thread we can find. The identical descriptions of how they look, the precise words they use.
The specific phrasing.
The strange, almost surgical cover-up methods. We want to really understand the nature of this alleged intervention.
Think of it this way, maybe. If the objects, the UFOs, are like variable pathogens entering the system, the MIB are like this hyper-efficient immune response, almost automated, designed to neutralize the information, the data point, regardless of who saw it or where.
That's a creepy analogy.
It is, but the systematic similarity in their approach, their intervention, it offers maybe the most unnerving window into real-world information management we've actually encountered in these files.
So your goal, as you join us on this deep dive, is to recognize that pattern of control.
Yeah.
Let's not jump ahead to the suits and the censorship just yet, though. We need to set the scene first.
Right. Context is everything.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting first with the anomalies themselves.
Yeah.
The silent, sharp objects that seem to defy everything we know about flight.
So the first thing we have to establish is the sheer diversity of what people are seeing. I mean, all sorts of shapes and lights.
Right.
And yet underneath that diversity, there are these shared characteristics. They pop up again and again across accounts from like the mountains of Moab to the foggy coast of Maine. These objects share traits that fundamentally violate inertia, aerodynamics, classical flight dynamics, everything.
They aren't just fast. They seem to be instantaneous in their movement. Let's take the initial sighting by this guy, Mr. Harland, a seasoned pilot near Billings. He described a metallic disc. Classic shit, right?
Classic saucer.
It appeared from the cloud cover and dropped perfectly vertical. Like, imagine dropping a coin from way up high, but with zero tumble, no atmospheric effect.
Just straight down?
Straight down, then it stopped. Dead still. Midair. Perfectly stationary. From maybe, he said, 2 heartbeats.
Wow.
And then shot off horizontally across the skyline.
And Harlan emphasized those sensory details, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. No tilt, no wobble, no sound, no contrail, nothing.
Okay, so right there, for you, our listener, this is where the physics just breaks down. If an object with any real mass stops instantly from a vertical descent like that, the G-forces involved should just tear it apart, period.
Right.
And then the instantaneous shift from zero velocity to high horizontal speed, that should flatten or liquefy any known internal structure or pilot or anything.
So it implies that the mass is being, neutralized somehow, instantly.
Either that, or it's somehow manipulating local gravity. Or maybe even the fabric of space itself right around it. We don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not flying in the way we understand flying.
Exactly. It's not simply flying fast. It seems to be redefining movement itself. And we see contrast in the shapes, sure, but the movement stays the same. Consider the object seen over the Dry Creek logging road. This wasn't a metallic disc at all. It was described as a stretched oval shape. Almost organic looking.
Yeah, and the surface, like liquid metal.
Right. The witness said it blended almost perfectly with the trees around it, like active camouflage.
Wow.
But when he shifted his position, tried to get a better look, the surface seemed to pulse and tilt slightly. as if it, like, acknowledged he was there.
That's unnerving. It suggests awareness.
Totally. And the geometry of movement is just as unsettling.
Oh, yeah, the astrophotographer's account. On the roof of his block, right, in a city.
Yeah. He described 4 points of light, and they didn't just drift across the sky. He called it geometric choreography.
Choreography.
They split into a perfect square formation, instantly. Then, just as instantly, rearranged into a diamond shape.
Like flipping a switch.
Exactly. And then one of the points, he said, it folded inward on an angle so sharp, it looked like the light had just stopped being a dot and was now an edge.
Whoa. Okay, that's not movement through space as we know it.
No. It's the difference between, like, driving a car smoothly around a corner and teleporting instantly from one side of the road to the other without disturbing a single leaf on the trees. It's instantaneous, calculated motion, clean brakes, sharp, physics-defying angles, instant rearrangement.
It suggests an intelligence controlling vectors positioning completely outside the limits of propulsion or aerodynamics?
Precisely the conclusion reached by this senior atmosphere science major who was reviewing satellite data. Completely separate incident.
What did he find?
He flagged a series of frames showing a perfect circular heat signature over the Midwest. Stationary. Big heat signature.
Yeah.
Then, between 2 frames, just 30 seconds apart, it simply vanished.
Vanished how? Did it fade, move off?
No. That's the thing. No thermal dissipation, no drift, no plume, no cooling trail. 1 frame, it's there, bright as day on thermal. Next frame, 30 seconds later, it's just gone.
Wow.
As the student put it, it moves and appears as if it's animating a dot on a screen. You just click, and it's somewhere else, or it's deleted.
Suggesting a manipulation of space or time that makes traditional aerodynamics completely irrelevant. It's not flying through space, it's manipulating where it is in space.
And crucially, across all these diverse shapes, different locations, different times, we get the universal sensory consensus.
Yeah.
The silent hover.
Yes, silent.
Multiple accounts stress this profound, almost oppressive absence of noise.
Right. Not just quiet, but silent.
Think about the trucker. He pulled over to look at this massive triangular object hovering low over a cornfield. He said he pulled over specifically because the silence was so deafening it unnerved him.
He felt he should be hearing something.
Exactly. He didn't trust his own truck's engine noise to keep him from hearing something from this huge object right there. But there was nothing. Just the silence pressing in on him.
The silence is, well, it's almost like physical evidence in itself. It implies no energy is being expelled, at least not in any acoustic form we recognize. No engines, no rotors, no rush of air.
Which is important, right? It means we aren't dealing with advanced jets or secret drones, not as we understand them.
Probably not. We're dealing with a phenomenon that seems to bypass the need for air, for combustion, maybe even for conventional propulsion entirely.
And these objects aren't just passively sitting there. They seem to be interacting with the environment around them, both physical and digital.
Yeah, the local effects described are bizarre.
The light seen over the quarry, for instance. The witness reported shadows on the ground that shifted faster than any reflection should.
Faster than reflection? What does that even mean?
I know. It suggests maybe a non-standard light source. Or something else. Some kind of local temporal thing. Who knows?
We also hear about the air distortion. That's another recurring one.
Near the logging road with the oval object and also at the desert camp sighting, witnesses described this localized distortion of the air itself. They likened it to heat shimmer over hot asphalt.
Even though the air temperature was cold?
Exactly. Near freezing in one case?
Yeah.
The implication seems to be that the object is drawing or pushing a massive amount of energy from its immediate environment, enough to visibly distort the air.
And the technological interference. That's maybe our strongest hint at their nature, or at least their effect.
Definitely. Multiple accounts detail immediate device failure when people get close. That astrophotographer on the roof, his phone battery went from 12% charge to dead. Instantly. Just poof.
As soon as he got near those harbor lights he was filming.
Yeah. And even stranger is the reversal effect sometimes.
Right, the hiker's phone.
The hiker's phone went off, completely dead near the sighting. Standard procedure, maybe, based on the other accounts.
Okay.
But later, miles away, back down the trail, it powered on normally, showing 62% battery.
Which makes no sense. Batteries don't spontaneously recharge, especially not after being forced dead. That violates thermodynamics.
Completely. And maybe the most unnerving tech interaction. The ham radio operator.
Oh, yeah, this one's weird.
His device, his ham radio, turned on by itself and began cycling through a specific set of coordinates, almost like a broadcast or a signal, right before the MIB showed up at his door.
That suggests foresight. Or maybe the object itself triggered the MIB response, and the radio was part of that signal.
It's hard to say, but it suggests whatever these objects are, they don't just occupy space, they actively manipulate the local electromagnetic field.
Yeah.
And they seem to prioritize disabling recording and communication devices. It's almost like they're cleaning up the digital scene simply by being present.
It's like a targeted manipulation of data integrity that starts before the men in black even arrive. The phenomenon itself tries to prevent its own recording.
Okay, so if the anomalies themselves are diverse, maybe unpredictable, the intervention that follows is anything but. This is where the systematic nature of this control organization becomes terrifyingly clear.
It really locks in.
They present this uniform, highly staged appearance. It seems designed not just for intimidation, which it definitely is.
Oh, for sure.
But for a kind of psychological compliance, to make you just go along with it.
Right. It starts with the look. The extreme, almost manufactured consistency of the uniform of control, as the outline calls it.
And it's spot on. Every single source we looked at describes the same basic attire. Perfectly pressed, tailored, spotless black suits.
Always black.
Always black. White shirts, plain dark ties, not navy blue, not charcoal gray, pure light-absorbing black, like a void.
And here we have to pause, I think. We need to dwell on one of the most persistent and frankly one of the most unsettling details that comes up over and over again.
The lack of coats.
The lack of coats. Multiple witnesses across completely different climate zones, different times of the year, noted no coats, even when the temperature was bitterly cold.
Like the 25-degree Fahrenheit airstrip where Mr. Harlan landed his plane.
Right. Or the freezing cafe where another witness was questioned. Or the utility worker standing out in a field with the temperature hovering just above freezing.
They just stood there in these thin suits, seemingly immune to the environment.
Why is this detail standardized? You have to ask that.
Yeah.
It's got to be a key psychological tactic. It implies a non-human resistance to the environment, right? It instantly sets them apart.
It suggests they aren't bound by normal human concerns like comfort or temperature regulation.
Exactly. It reinforces the sense that they are this unsettling force operating outside of our natural world. It screams other.
And their physical presence, the descriptions people give, it supports this non-human or maybe altered human quality.
Definitely. Witnesses noted they were pale, like they hadn't seen sunlight in months. Their skin unnaturally white or sometimes grayish.
The pilot, Harlan, he specifically observed the irises of one of the men. Said they were too uniform in color, almost gray, lacking the usual flecks or depth that you see in human eyes.
Wow.
Another witness described a face that was too smooth, like his face didn't have normal lines or texture. Almost like a highly realistic mask, but not quite right.
That uncanny valley effect.
Exactly. And the symmetry of their actions is equally chilling. The park ranger at Clear Falls State Park. He noted that the two men who approached him turned to look at him at the exact same time when his boots crunched on the gravel path, like they were linked.
They moved and turned in perfect unison, is how one account put it.
Yeah, not like two partners working together smoothly, but like extensions of the same physical unit.
Okay.
A perfect, rehearsed, almost robotic symmetry that's designed to destabilize you, the observer.
And their staging is also crucial, how they arrive. They don't just walk up normally. They seem to appear just there.
Right. The photographer at the airfield described them stepping out from behind Hangar C. He said they were just there like someone unlatched a curtain.
Implying perfect timing, perfect positioning, like they knew exactly where he'd be and when.
And the small, almost absurd details are the ones that really break your sense of reality.
Like the shoes.
The shoes. Ooh. The witness on the logging road, remember? He rounded a bend in the trail, and the MIB were standing there. On a trail described as muddy in spots.
Okay.
Yet their polished black leather shoes were perfectly clean. Not a speck of mud, starkly contrasting with the environment they were standing in.
It's like high theater, isn't it? It's designed to scream at you. We are not subject to your reality. Your mud doesn't touch us.
It's deeply unsettling. And their vehicles complete this intimidation package.
Ah, yes, the cars. Very consistent descriptions here, too.
Black sedans or sometimes SUVs. Windows tinted too dark, darker than legally allowed, usually. And the recurring specific detail. No plates on the front bumper. Sometimes no plates at all.
Right. Anonymous. Untraceable.
The warehouse worker who saw the glowing object noted that the van that dropped off the two men pulled away without headlights rolling smooth down the access road. It just disappeared silently into the night.
They arrive and depart like shadows, avoiding any formal record, any visual identification that could be tracked later.
Then there's the way they talk, the dialogue.
Yeah.
It's not loud, it's not aggressive in volume.
Yeah.
but it's flat, monotone.
Yeah.
Yet somehow utterly dripping with implied authority and certainty.
The uniformity of their vocal quality is one of the most consistent patterns reported. Flat, almost mechanical voice, someone said. No inflection at all.
They aren't really communicating with you, they're delivering instructions to you.
Exactly. That monotone delivery removes any sense of personality, any empathy. It makes it almost impossible for the witness to plead or argue or even react in a normal human way.
They're unnerving you with this robotic certainty.
And they use jargon, specific phrases designed to imply unchallenged authority without ever actually identifying themselves or their agency.
Right. When the pilot, Harland, asked for an agency name, who they worked for, he was just told federal jurisdiction. And when he pushed, they just repeated it, verbatim.
It's like a script. Other terms that pop up are things like national security review or the incredibly vague, we work with interests that prefer discretion.
That last one is chilling. Interests that prefer discretion. It cloaks their origin completely, but leverages the public's inherent deference to official-sounding power structures. You hear federal or national security, and you tend to back down.
But what gives this whole stage management, this whole performance, its real power, is their immediate, seemingly preemptive knowledge.
Yeah, this is maybe the scariest part. They didn't need the witness to tell them what happened.
No. Mr. Harland, the pilot, he was addressed by name moments after he landed his plane, before he had contacted anyone ATC, his company, anyone about seeing the metallic disc.
Oh. How did they know his name and that he'd just landed and seen something?
Exactly, and even more precise. The astrophotographer, he was immediately asked about, what was it, the last hour of exposures from August 12th?
That's incredibly specific. A precise time window on a specific date.
They should have had no way of knowing that unless they were already monitoring him or monitoring the event itself in real time, or maybe even monitoring his equipment.
It strongly suggests their surveillance precedes the event's public disclosure, or even the witness's decision to report it. They already know.
So if the MIB's appearance, their whole presentation is designed for psychological control,
Right.
then their tactics, what they actually do, are designed for bureaucratic capture, for control of the narrative, the data.
Their objective doesn't seem to be violence, at least not usually. It's absolute data and information suppression.
And it's often delivered as this quiet, almost reasonable-sounding demand. Polite, even.
It's a form of coercive guidance, really, where compliance is framed subtly as the path of least resistance, the easiest way out for you.
And the first demand is often immediate compliance through some kind of symbolic act, usually getting a signature.
Like with Mr. Harland, the pilot. After he landed, they pressed him to sign this form, a pre-printed form.
What did it say?
It confirmed he saw known atmospheric effects. And it specifically required him to deny that it was a metallic object.
So rewriting his experience on the spot.
Exactly. And the coercion wasn't through overt threats. He noted, it wasn't a question. His voice didn't get louder. They just expected him to sign. The weight of their presence, their certainty, did the work. He was simply expected to comply with the official rewrite of reality they handed him.
We see this kind of bureaucratic efficiency repeated in other accounts, too. The radio host, the one who recorded the strange call with the coordinates, he was visited by two men. They only said they needed the recording for archiving purposes. Very bland, very official sounding.
Okay. Did he give it to them?
Well, here's the thing. When he went to retrieve the file, the recording, it was already missing from his computer. Gone.
Before they even asked for it.
Apparently. So they just left their cards blank cards, probably without any argument. It seems like they were there purely for procedural follow-up, like ticking a box. It implies the file was actually deleted by other means, maybe remotely, before they even arrived.
Wow. That suggests layers to the operation. And their demands, when they do make them, focus squarely on the physical evidence, right?
Yes. It shows they understand that data integrity often relies on the original source medium, the physical thing.
Like the astrophotographers. They were asked two distinct questions, which is interesting.
What were they?
First, are you willing to delete the last hour of exposures from August 12th? A request for voluntary compliance.
Okay.
But then, followed immediately by, we'll need the card for chain of custody, a demand. They're targeting both the digital files and the physical memory card itself, covering all bases.
And this proactive intervention against potential evidence, we see that with the campers in Moab, too.
Right. They hadn't even taken any pictures yet of whatever they saw.
But the MIB arrived anyway and asked, we'll need your cameras.
They were intervening against the potential for evidence to exist, not just the evidence itself.
Which suggests, again, a surveillance system that's tracking potential witnesses almost immediately upon the event happening. They know who might have seen something, who might have a recording device.
And their refusal to identify themselves, that's absolutely central to their authority structure, isn't it?
Completely. If you ask for their agency, who they represent, they deflect. Every time.
It's either federal jurisdiction, like with Harlan, or that quick, impossible-to-read flash of an ID wallet.
Right. Witnesses just catch a flash of a seal, maybe an eagle, something vaguely official but ultimately meaningless because you can't identify it.
They operate solely on implied authority. They refuse to be documented or held accountable within any known legal or governmental framework. They exist outside of it.
And the warnings they deliver, they're just masterful pieces of psychological manipulation, because they twist compliance into seeming like self-preservation.
They're remarkably polite, often, when delivering these thinly veiled threats. It's creepy.
Very. The utility worker, the one who saw the oval craft near the power lines, he was told, very calmly, "We're going to ask you not to discuss this with anyone. It would be best for everyone involved."
See, it reframes suppression as a protective measure. For him, as if the MIB are actually helping him avoid some worse fate that they can't control. It puts them on his side, almost.
It's insidious. And the librarian stargazer, the guy named Mr. Morales, he was given this almost intellectual warning. Certain things are better left uncharted, Mr. Morales, for your own good.
That's chilling. It suggests the knowledge itself is the danger. It appeals to the witness's sense of caution, maybe even their intellectual curiosity, that turns it back on them as a reason for silence.
And the trucker, the one who saw the triangle over the cornfield. He was advised later, by different men fitting the description, to take a different route home, and specifically to avoid the lowland near where he saw the object.
By men who said they represented interests that prefer discretion.
Right. It demonstrates this incredibly localized knowledge. They know his route, they know the local geography, and it exerts control over his movement, his routine.
The message is simple and consistent, no matter how it's phrased. We know what you saw. We know where you are. And the smartest, safest thing for you to do is be quiet.
Okay, this next part, this section, reveals the true sophistication, maybe the true reach, of the MIB operation. It moves beyond simple intimidation or verbal warnings into what appears to be surgical data manipulation on a level that's, well, it's hard to comprehend, and it often leaves witnesses questioning their own memory, their own sanity.
The sheer efficiency of their digital cleansing operations, that's what gets me. It suggests capabilities far beyond standard government forensics or even hacking as we normally think of it.
Let's focus on the atmospheric science student again.
Yeah.
Because his case is just chilling.
Okay.
The MIB who visited him,
Sure.
They navigated directly to his hidden folder, the one containing the 30 flagged satellite images he'd found.
Hidden folder, right. Not just on his desktop.
Hidden. And the witness specifically notes the intruder didn't search, didn't click through anything. They instantly knew the exact file path. No hesitation.
Implying they already knew where it was.
Yeah.
Or they have some way to just see the file structure instantly.
And the erasure itself was comprehensive. It suggests deep operating system access, network access, maybe even hardware level access.
What does they do?
They deleted every file in that folder. They emptied the recycle bin. They cleared the system log to hide their access. And crucially, they deleted the cloud backup he had.
They got the cloud backup too. Remotely.
Remotely. All of this, the witness estimated, within a single minute.
That's not normal digital forensics. To navigate hidden folders, bypass recycle bin recovery, clear logs, and access and delete a separate cloud backup that quickly.
It implies either a deep, intimate knowledge of his specific operating system and network setup, maybe spyware already installed, or an ability to manipulate the hardware and network connections at a fundamental level we don't understand.
They're neutralizing the data at every single point of potential redundancy, leaving nothing behind.
But it's not always just wholesale dilution. Sometimes we see evidence of surgical corruption, like leaving a subtle scar on the record, something that hints but doesn't prove.
Like the warehouse camera feed, the one that caught the glowing object.
Exactly. The security log noted a corrupted file only for that specific 30-second time slot when the object was visible. Everything before and after was fine.
Just that crucial moment is gone.
Yeah.
But the record shows something was wrong then.
Right. And the library stargazer, Mr. Morales, his video recording of the lights he saw, it had a single chilling frame of pure white light right at the moment the light supposedly folded inward and vanished.
One frame.
One frame. Like someone had erased that instant, he said. Why erase just one frame instead of the whole file?
It confirms the event happened, right? The video exists. But it eliminates the crucial visual information of how the lights dematerialized.
Precisely. It leaves the witness with data that confirms their experience to themselves, but denies them the mechanism, the proof of the most extraordinary part of the event. It sows doubt.
And the truck driver's phone video. Similar thing. An odd jump, like a glitch or skipped frames, exactly where the object crossed the frame.
And the audio track apparently had a momentary spike of high, thin static right at that jump point.
So again, it's not total destruction, it's precision editing of the event's timeline.
Right.
It makes the remaining video look unreliable, inadmissible, subject to severe doubt if he ever tried to show it to anyone.
This surgical data control seems to extend to physical records as well. It's not just digital.
Like the ham radio operator's notebook.
Yeah. The page where he'd written down the strange foreign words and the coordinates the radio was broadcasting, it was gone. Not torn out gone, he stressed, like it had never been there. The page was simply absent from the spiral notebook, with no sign of tearing, suggesting removal without physical tampering of the binding itself.
How is that even possible?
That's the question, isn't it? And maybe the most alarming account of physical digital erasure comes from the Weather Service employee.
Okay, what happened there?
They had radar logs showing anomalous returns during a sighting event. Standard procedure, they had 3 redundant backups of these logs.
3 copies.
3 copies in 3 separate secure locations as per protocol. All 3 copies were found to be gone, not corrupted, not overwritten, just gone.
All 3 from separate secure systems.
Just like they'd never existed, the report says. This points to a systemic, maybe centralized access capability that can override all standard data security protocols across multiple systems simultaneously or near simultaneously. That's state level or beyond capability.
Okay, finally, we have to look at the social and physical erasure. The gaslighting. The stuff that targets the witness's memory and their support structure, making them doubt themselves.
This is where it gets really insidious, psychological.
It's like the park ranger. He saw the lights, was disturbed, and immediately called Darren, the local bait shop owner, someone he knew and trusted, to ask if he'd seen anything unusual.
Standard procedure, check for other witnesses.
Right. But later, when the ranger mentioned the call back to Darren, Darren acted like he had no idea what the ranger was talking about. Said something like, "Lights? No, I didn't see anything. You must have been thinking of someone else you called."
Wow. So direct social denial from someone he knew.
Yeah. It isolates the witness completely, makes them doubt the validity of their own memory, makes them question the conversation itself. It reinforces the official narrative of nothing happened by co-opting the local social network.
We also see these lingering signs of physical manipulation left behind, almost like calling cards or maybe just sloppy work. It's hard to tell.
Like the pilot finding his slight log, gone from a slight bag. But the pen he always kept clipped to the side of the logbook was still there, just lying loose in the bag.
It suggests not a simple theft, but a precise subtraction of a single item of evidence, leaving behind a confusing trace.
And the radio host, after the MIB visit, his apartment felt colder than usual. He couldn't explain it. And he noted other strange, silent signs of surveillance lights flickering oddly, silent phone calls. Subtle indicators that someone had been in his private space, maybe messed with things slightly.
Just enough to keep him off balance, looking over his shoulder.
And the airfield photographer, the one who got spooked and fled the site after seeing the MIB near Hangar C, he went back later, cautiously. The specific plane he had photographed near the hangar was gone. And the concrete where it had been parked looked scrubbed clean, like chemically cleaned, removing any possible fluid drips, tire marks, any physical trace of its presence.
Total sanitization of the scene, erasing the context as well as the subject.
And tying back to the MIB vehicles and their strange arrival. Remember the couple who saw the object pass the moon? The next morning, they found 2 sets of tire tracks in the dirt outside their remote home. Standard black sedan tire tracks, but no footprints in the frost. On the ground around the tracks were leading to their house.
Whoa. So the car was there, but the occupants left no trace on the frosty ground.
Exactly. This detail is crucial. It implies an arrival and departure that somehow bypass standard ground logistics, or maybe even the basic physics of leaving footprints on impressionable frost. It echoes the impossible movements of the anomalies themselves. They operate outside the normal rules. #V. Critical takeaways and conclusion.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we step back now and look at this overwhelming mountain of consistent detail.
It's a lot.
The synchronized appearance, the black suits, no coats. The flat monotone language, the immediate knowledge they have, the surgical data control, digital and physical. What does this level of consistency imply? These are disparate people, different locations, different sightings, yet the operational response is like a uniform blueprint laid over each one.
The implication of such specific, coordinated action happening across multiple jurisdictions, different kinds of targets, varying climates, it has to point to an organization that is highly organized, highly resourced, and centralized.
This isn't just a random collection of military spooks or intelligence agents freelancing.
No, it behaves like a system, a well-oiled machine with a very specific protocol.
And it absolutely prioritizes bureaucratic efficiency and psychological compliance over, say, conventional threat tactics like violence or overt intimidation.
Right. They generally avoid physical violence. They use those flat, calm voices. The threat is implied, contextual, not usually explicit.
Which reinforces the idea that these MIB, whatever they are, operate outside of standard military or legal structures we recognize.
Their goal isn't really to punish the witness or scare them forever. Their primary goal seems to be to negate the data, the evidence.
They're like an information cleanup crew, focused entirely on data integrity control, information suppression, not really on the witness's personal beliefs about what they saw.
You can believe whatever you want, just don't have proof and don't talk about it.
So we can confidently conclude, based on these accounts, that the primary target is the information itself.
Yes.
It's less about some kind of alien confrontation scenario and much more about rigorous information suppression. They don't care if the witness believes they saw a craft. They care only that the evidence, the photo, the video, the radar log, the testimony itself, never enters the public record or official logs where it can be aggregated, analyzed, and potentially challenge the status quo.
We used the analogy earlier, comparing the MIB's actions to a sophisticated immune system for global information flow.
Right.
An immune system is designed to detect and neutralize any pathogen, any foreign data point that introduces inconsistent variables into the established host system, the consensus reality.
So the MIB are designed to detect, track, and surgically neutralize any physical or digital data that challenges the authorized consensus of what is scientifically possible or officially acknowledged.
It seems that way. They are the antibodies against disruptive information.
So why should you, our listener, our fellow deep diver, care about these frankly terrifying accounts?
Well, because they offer a powerful and chilling lesson in critical thinking and in questioning what is not recorded, what is missing from the record.
We've seen how easily personal memory can apparently be manipulated through gaslighting, and how digital evidence can be surgically erased or corrupted, even across multiple backups, when powerful, unknown interests deem it necessary.
The level of sophistication required to delete a cloud backup in seconds, clear system logs without a trace, or make just one frame of a video pure white. That capability is truly terrifying if you think about its implications for evidence integrity in any field.
The fact that witnesses' memories were seemingly gaslit by people they knew and trusted, or that 3 separate, redundant digital backups of official radar data could be surgically removed from secure systems.
Yeah.
It's a profound reminder of how fragile our evidence, and therefore our perceived reality, can actually be when facing an operation of this apparent magnitude and reach.
It makes you wonder what else gets cleaned up.
Exactly. Yeah. But here's where it gets really interesting for me, thinking about the whole pattern.
Okay.
We've spent this entire deep dive focusing on the consistency of the response. The MIB showing up after the event.
Right. Cause and effect, sighting happens, MIB respond.
But given how precise that response is, how immediately they seem to know things,
Yeah.
one question just hangs over the whole phenomenon. And it ties back directly to their immediate knowledge of the witnesses' names, the file dates, the locations.
Go on.
The MIB consistently displayed knowledge of the event, the location, and the witness's actions before the witness had reported anything to external authorities. They knew Harlan's name before he radioed the tower. They knew the exact date and hour of the astrophotographer's exposures before he'd even downloaded them off the camera.
Yeah. That timing is the linchpin, isn't it?
So it raises this really important kind of paradigm-shifting question. Did the intervention, the MIB visit, happen simply because the person saw something unusual?
Oh. Or did the MIB's automated surveillance system detect the act of observation itself? Meaning, the witness wasn't just randomly seeing something, but they tripped a wire. They were detected while observing.
Which would mean the MIB showing up is merely the automated cleanup phase triggered by a pre-existing, possibly global surveillance system that's monitoring for these events or monitoring specific people or places.
So the question becomes, did they see something and then get visited? Or were they visited because the system saw them seeing something? Were they flagged by the observation itself?
It flips the script. Maybe the MIB intervention isn't a reaction. Maybe it's just the inevitable consequence of tripping an invisible alarm.
That is a chilling thought. The quiet, precise, almost bureaucratic action of the MIB suddenly seems far more unnerving than the spectacle of the lights in the sky.
Right. Because it suggests an almost flawless, invisible system of information control might already be in place, running silently in the background.
Wow.
Makes you think. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into these patterns of suppression, these operational blueprints. It's a lot to process.
It definitely is. Continue charting the unknown, keep looking up, keep asking questions, but perhaps, as one of those MIB apparently advised Mr. Morales, maybe exercise a little discretion.
Yeah, maybe.
And probably make checking those file backups, maybe having an offline copy part of your daily routine, just in case.
Good advice. We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we've got something really quite unusual. We've pulled together this stack of source material, and frankly, it's pretty disquieting stuff.
It really is. We're looking at raw first-person accounts, very detailed, close contact UAP encounters, unidentified aerial phenomena.
And these aren't just blurry dots in the sky, right? We're talking sources from all over rural Illinois, out on the Montauk Cliffs, Brooklyn streets, Kansas cornfields, even Dundee in Scotland.
Exactly. These are intimate encounters, high strangeness. People describing being feet away, sometimes directly underneath whatever this phenomenon was.
And the thread running through all of them is, well, that's the thing truly extraordinary happened. So our mission today, our deep dive, is about finding the signal in that noise.
We're kind of moving past the whole do they exist question for this discussion.
Right, we're asking something maybe more unsettling. What consistent patterns pop up when people describe the effects? Not just what they saw, but the non-visual stuff.
Yeah, how did technology behave? What about sound? What happened to, time itself during these encounters?
It's fascinating because the shapes vary wildly, don't they? Huge black triangles, silver spheres, these weird columns of light.
But when you strip away the specific shape, the way the environment reacts and how human perception itself seems to react shows this, frankly, shocking uniformity.
That's the core of it, isn't it? The phenomenon seems less defined by what it looks like and more by its ability to, manipulate the physics around it in a coordinated way.
Precisely. Coordinated is the key word there.
So we've broken this down into four main areas where these patterns really stand out. First, the visual side, the shapes and movements that just seem impossible.
Then the sound signature, or sometimes the complete lack of sound, the hum in the void, as we're calling it.
Third, and this is where it gets really weird, the tech side, how technology just collapses or gets suppressed, and these strange time anomalies.
And finally, the aftermath, the unsettling follow-ups, the surveillance, that whole pattern.
Okay, let's dive in. Part 1, the visual encounter, impossible geometry and movement.
Every story starts with seeing something, right?
Yeah, and our sources, they describe a whole spectrum of shapes, but the common thing is, they just don't belong. Spheres, massive triangles, moving in ways that defy, everything we know about how things fly, propulsion, lift, inertia, all out the window.
It's the sheer audacity of the geometry and the scale combined with how they move that's so striking. In engineering, if something's big, it needs big thrust. It makes big noise.
But here we've got reports of enormous objects just hanging there, silently.
Take the impossible triangle. That's almost iconic in these accounts now. Multiple independent witnesses describing these huge matte black triangles.
And the scale is just staggering. One witness, this was near a rail path shortcut in rural Illinois, late August, described one as the size of 3 houses, just sitting there above the tree line.
3 houses, imagine that. Maybe 100 feet across, just hovering. And the witness really stressed the visual effect. It wasn't see-through. It was like a hole punched in the night sky, blocking the stars. A perfect, clean cutout.
Matte black. No shine, no reflections.
It's exactly. Dense, geometric, a shadow against the stars. And crucially, no lights, no navigation strobes, nothing you'd expect even on a top-secret military craft. Just blackness and shape.
So the immediate question is, how do you keep something that massive, 3 houses worth of mass, silent and still, with no visible propulsion?
Right. I mean, if this was some secret terrestrial tech, even with advanced materials, just displacing the air to hover that low would create a huge amount of noise. Turbulence, you'd feel it.
Conventional aerospace physics just doesn't cut it here. Anything that heavy, that close to the ground, needs serious lift. Rotors, jets, rockets, they all make noise, they all produce heat.
But the sources, they report either total silence or maybe a low hum you feel more than hear, which strongly suggests...
Well, listen.
It suggests propulsion that doesn't need to violently push against the atmosphere.
Like it's interacting with gravity locally, or inertia.
That's the implication. Some kind of local manipulation of gravity, or perhaps inertial mass itself, bypassing the usual rules.
And the movement seals the deal, really. This giant triangle didn't blast off like a rocket. The witness said it drifted like a page sailing down in slow motion.
Controlled, gentle almost, yet absolutely massive. That combination is just baffling.
It's not just triangles, though. These vertical columns of light crop up, too, and they're just as weird, physically speaking.
Oh, definitely. The Illinois report describes a vertical column of pale blue light, solid-looking, shining straight down from the clouds into a cornfield.
Now, usually if you shine a big light through fog or dusty air, it scatters, right? You get this diffuse cone.
Correct. But this report says the column was fixed, perfectly steady, solid-looking, no scattering, like a beam of light behaving like a physical object.
Almost like a fluorescent tube just hanging there.
Sort of, but vast.
Yeah.
And the trail cam evidence adds another layer of strangeness. It caught the light as a quiet, luminous rope coming down.
And the base of it, what did it do?
Sometimes it blurred or spread out, the witness said, like a hand laid on sand, implying this significant interaction at ground level, like energy spreading out.
Okay, so solid-looking light column, energy spreading at the base. You'd expect to find something afterwards, right? Melted ground, fused silica, displaced soil.
You absolutely would. But when the witness checked later, nothing. Zero physical trace.
That's almost weirder than finding damage, isn't it? How can that much energy interact with the ground? Enough to look like a hand laid on sand and leave no mark.
It is weirder. It suggests the force light, pressure, maybe an EM field is incredibly localized and, well, maybe non-destructive in the ways we expect. Energy acting without leaving the usual thermodynamic fingerprints.
Then you've got the more classic shapes, the spheres and ovals. They share that same impossible movement signature.
Right. The report from the Ridgeway Trail, a silver object, maybe 20, 30 feet across, flattened on the bottom like a coin on edge.
And how did it move?
With impossible fluidity. That's the phrase used, just gliding. And another near Cedar Ridge, a smooth, pale, oval glow, hovering, drifting, calm, deliberate above the trees. And it dimmed when the witness tried to film it.
Well, we'll definitely come back to the filming issue. But that fluid, deliberate movement, that seems key.
It's the common thread, the movement signature. We see it with the lights in Brooklyn. They shot sideways fast, not gradually accelerating, just instantly moving left.
Instantly moving left. Let's pause on that. No buildup of speed.
None reported. Just there, then there. And the three lights over Sebastopol, they rotated in place flat, like a compass needle spinning, then shot straight up, smoothly.
Not fast like a rocket launch, just smooth.
Impossibly smooth was the description, which again points to something beyond conventional propulsion.
Because normally rapid acceleration means huge g-forces, right?
Yeah.
Inertia,
Yeah.
sonic booms if it's fast enough.
Exactly. These objects seem to just ignore momentum, to go from 0 to maybe thousands of miles per hour instantly and stop just as fast. That's a direct challenge to basic Newtonian mechanics.
Unless the object's mass isn't really interacting with acceleration in the normal way.
Or, perhaps more fundamentally, the local space-time around the object is being manipulated, effectively shortening the distance it needs to travel almost instantaneously.
So we're potentially looking at controlled inertia cancellation or warping space-time.
That's what the movement signatures strongly suggest. We're deep into territory that challenges our fundamental understanding of physics.
Okay, so the visuals are impossible. Let's talk about sound, or the lack of it, part 2. The auditory signature, the hum and the void.
Yes, and this is just as profound. If the visuals show impossible mechanics, the audio counts point towards, well, impossible thermodynamics almost. The consistent pattern is that the cessation of sound is often more dramatic, more significant than any noise the UNT itself makes.
It's like the phenomenon can just turn the volume down on reality, locally.
That's a good way to put it. The significance of the silence is huge. We don't always realize how much we rely on ambient noise, traffic, hum, crickets, wind, whatever, to feel grounded.
And when it just stops dead?
It's incredibly jarring psychologically. That witness on the rail path, they heard a dog barking nearby, and it cut out mid-bark. Not faded out, just snipped. surgically removed from the soundscape.
Wow, mid-bark.
And this silence isn't just an absence of sound, it comes with a physical sensation. Witnesses describe the background hum of the city suddenly feeling thinner than it should be. Or the silence itself feels like it's pressing on your ears.
Heavy, thick.
Exactly. A heavy, thick feeling in the air. This suggests it's not just quiet, it's a localized, palpable change. Maybe atmospheric pressure, maybe some kind of energy density shift.
Which brings us to that Montauk encounter. That seems like the most extreme example. Witness on the cliffs, loud Atlantic waves crashing.
Huge noise, presumably. And then the object gets close and the sound of the waves just completely gone, the witness reported.
How is that even possible, silencing the Atlantic Ocean?
Energetically, it's an immense challenge. You'd need, I don't know, active noise cancellation on a scale we can't imagine, or more likely some kind of energy field that damps or absorbs sonic vibrations within a specific area.
Creating like a bubble of silence?
A dome of thick quiet, yes. Which explains why they feel the silence pressing on their eardrums. They're suddenly inside this isolated zone.
And then the object leaves.
And boom! The sound just snapped back into motion. The surf, distant noises, everything rushes back in, almost overwhelming the senses. It's a sharp transition between two distinct states of reality defined by sound.
Okay, so silence is one signature. But sometimes there is sound, right? The hum.
Yes, but when sound is present, it's consistently described as not being conventional engine noise. It's usually a low, steady, non-mechanical hum, and crucially, it's often felt as much as heard, like a vibration in the chest.
A physical sensation again.
It seems to be the physical vibration of the object's energy signature itself.
Like the camper in Laurel Hollow. That detail was vivid, lying on their sleeping pad.
And feeling the ground underneath the pad vibrating, with an insistent and steady double tap pulse.
Not just a rumble, but a specific rhythm. Double tap.
Right, rhythmic, artificial seeming. It suggests the object might be using the ground itself as a conductor, maybe for its power system or some kind of propulsion resonance.
We also saw that energy field interacting with the air and objects, like with the delivery driver.
Yes, in that cul-de-sac, the air felt like it thickened, and when they touched a nearby metal street lamp post,
They heard a sound.
a clean, brittle note, they said. But more importantly, the metal of the post felt warmer than the surrounding damp, foggy air should have allowed.
Okay, that's a key detail. So the UAP's energy field is interacting directly with conductive materials nearby, leaving residual heat.
It seems so. A brief, palpable sign that a powerful energy system was active very close by, transferring energy to that lamppost.
And the sound, the hum, seems linked to the object's actions.
Very tightly, often. The triangular craft's long, low hum reportedly cut off like someone flipped a switch. And at that exact moment, the normal world sounds car horns, distant laughter snapped back.
So the hum isn't just engine noise, it's like the sound of the phenomenon being on.
It strongly suggests the hum is the fundamental signature of the phenomenon being active, not just some incidental byproduct.
What about that really strange one, the frost circle encounter, where the witness said the humming seemed to sync up with their heartbeat?
That is profoundly unsettling, isn't it? It takes it from localized environmental control to something potentially interactive, personalized even.
Like the object is monitoring the witness, or reacting to them.
It opens that possibility.
Yeah.
Is the phenomenon adapting its field based on the witness's physiological state? Or is the witness's body reacting to the field and the hum is reflecting that interaction? Either way, it blurs the line between external event and internal experience in a very disturbing way.
So we have something that can mute reality, pulses with energy you can feel, heats things up without fire, and maybe even syncs with your body. This leads directly into the next part, the assault on our technology.
Yes. Part 3. The tech collapse interference and temporal anomalies. This is where the phenomenon seems, well, either accidentally disruptive on a massive scale, or perhaps, more disturbingly, intentionally hostile to being recorded or measured.
It goes beyond just static on the radio, right? It seems targeted.
It does. The objects don't just interfere with power, they seem to surgically target data integrity, and even our basic sense of time.
Let's start with the electrical interference.
Yeah.
The driver in Kansas under that blue column of light.
Right. Car engine, headlights, dashboard, everything electrical just shut off. Completely dead. Instantaneously.
Like a massive EMP, an electromagnetic pulse.
It has that flavor, but it's more precise. Because when the power came back on, just a little way down the road, the dashboard clock had jumped forward by 3 minutes.
3 minutes. How does an EMP do that? Usually it just fries things or resets them to zero.
Exactly. For the entire system to die, then restart, and have the internal clock, which is relatively robust, be 3 minutes ahead. It suggests something more than just a general electrical overload, maybe a localized warp of the electromagnetic field that affects timekeeping specifically.
Wow. Okay. And the boat encounter? Similar pattern.
Very similar, but maybe even clearer suppression. Mast light dimmed, cabin light off, GPS screen went gray, all the electronics failed together.
But the power was still there.
That's the key. The power panel showed a healthy charge. So the power wasn't drained or shorted out, it was suppressed. Like a bubble was created where electricity just couldn't flow properly, and then once the object moved away, things presumably came back online.
We even see echoes of this in smaller ways, right?
Yeah.
The sources mentioned weird little glitches afterward.
Yes, microwave clocks blinking 1:13 a.m. for a couple of mornings. Kettles hissing louder than usual. Street lights near sighting locations blinking in these coordinated odd patterns. It's like a residual field effect lingers, leaving these little digital scars.
But the really chilling part isn't just things failing, it's the evidence disappearing.
This is the core of the technological signature, I think. The vanishing evidence. It really looks like these phenomena understand and actively target our ability to document them.
Mark's video. He filmed a hovering white orb, and the video just vanished.
Vanished completely. Not just from his phone, but from his cloud backup too. And it wasn't just deleted, the file became a 0-byte placeholder.
Explain that. What does 0-byte placeholder mean?
It means the file system still knows the file should be there. The name, the location, the metadata might still exist. But the actual content, the data that makes up the video, it's gone. Wiped clean, leaving an empty shell, 0 bytes in size.
That doesn't sound like random corruption from an EMP.
Not at all. It's surgical. It's like a targeted data strike. If the phone was just generally fried, you'd expect more widespread damage. Maybe the whole device bricked. This looks intentional, like digital sanitization, almost like malware designed specifically to erase recordings of these events.
And it happened with surveillance cameras too. Purpose-built recording devices.
Yes. A security camera near where an orb disappeared produced a corrupted file, 0 bytes again, and its motion log registered activity at 1:12 a.m. But the recording for that moment was just a blank white frame.
A white frame. Not black, not static.
White, which could suggest maybe massive overexposure, like being blasted with intense light, but again, often without corresponding physical evidence like scorching. Or it could just be another form of data replacement, replacing the actual visual data with nothingness represented as white.
The dash cam from the Kansas blue light encounter had something similar.
A short, blank white frame. Right at the moment the glow passed over the car. The camera knew something happened then, logged the time, but the visual data itself was wiped or replaced. It recorded the presence of something, but erased the image.
Okay, so if the phenomenon is deliberately wiping digital evidence, what about the even stranger stuff? The time discrepancies, the temporal anomalies.
This is perhaps the most fundamentally disturbing aspect. It seems capable of manipulating time itself, or at least our measurement and perception of it, leaving holes we can't explain.
These aren't just people feeling like time slowed down, right? These are clock discrepancies.
Yes, discrepancies that seem to defy simple mechanical error. The driver in Sebastopol, the one who saw the rotating lights, they stopped for maybe a minute or two. Their car clock, which they knew was correct before, read 12:58 a.m. afterwards.
Okay.
But their phone, which constantly syncs with network time, read 12:4 a.m.
Wait. The car clock was 18 minutes ahead of the phone after just a 1 or 2 minute stop.
17 or 18 minutes, yeah. A huge jump. The car's internal independent clocks somehow accrued nearly 20 extra minutes compared to the external network synced time on the phone.
How? How is that possible? Did time speed up inside the car?
That's one interpretation. That the local rate of time flow briefly accelerated just for the car's systems, or perhaps more likely, given the tech suppression, the car's clock experienced a jump forward. Like a segment of time was just excised or skipped for its internal chronometer.
We see this feeling of elastic time elsewhere too, don't we? The hiker in Laurel Hollow.
Right. He checked his watch, 10:04 a.m., but he was certain he'd checked it not long before, and it had read 12:46 a.m., hours different. He described time feeling elastic, like it had been pulled then let go. He spent the rest of the hike completely disoriented about the actual time.
The runner with the smartwatch.
Modern tech, constantly tracking time, GPS, heart rate. He enters a cleaning where everything goes silent. Later, he checks his run data. There's a jump in the timer of almost 12 minutes, but he has no memory of stopping or even slowing down. His physiological data maybe didn't show a 12-minute rest either. The clock just jumped.
So these aren't subjective feelings. These are digital devices recording non-linear time progression during the encounters.
Precisely. Multiple independent chronometers are suddenly disagreeing with each other or showing inexplicable gaps or jumps, specifically during or immediately after a close encounter.
And there seem to be specific times associated with these events and the later weirdness. 1.12 a.m., 1.13 a.m., and especially 2.13 a.m. seems to pop up a lot.
It does. The blinking microwave clocks, the security log activation time, and as we'll see, even the human surveillance later on. These times recur, 2.13 a.m. in particular.
Is it just coincidence? Or could it be, like an operational window, a timing signature?
It's hard to say for sure, obviously, but the consistency is intriguing. Analytically, 2.13 a.m. could be anything from a peak in some energy cycle related to the phenomenon to a synchronization point, or even thinking terrestrially, a time when monitoring systems are left active or vulnerable.
Or maybe it's just a calling card, a deliberate marker left in the digital and temporal wake.
That's possible too. A persistent signature marking the time when its reality-bending manipulation was most active. It adds another layer of unsettling structure to it all.
Which leads us into the aftermath, part 4. Physical traces and the really creepy stuff, the unsettling follow-ups.
Yes. The technological and temporal weirdness suggests a structured event. The aftermath often provides subtle physical confirmation, but then comes this pattern of human or apparently human intervention, the whole Men in Black or MIB phenomenon.
Let's start with the physical traces. They're often odd because of what's not there, right? Like the lack of scorch marks from the light column.
Exactly. That intense energy interaction should leave significant damage, thermodynamically speaking. The absence of expected damage is itself strange, but there are subtle residual effects.
Like the smell.
Yes, that faint metallic smell described as like burning copper or pennies reported by neighbors afterwards. That smell is actually a classic indicator of high ionization or ozone production, consistent with powerful electromagnetic energy discharges. So even if it didn't burn the ground, the energy field clearly permeated the atmosphere.
And sometimes there are marks, but they're very precise. Like in Mark's yard, where the white orb hovered.
The dew on the grass was pushed down in a tidy oval the size of a coffee table. Not blown away, not burned, just precisely pressed down. Again, suggesting surgical control, not chaotic force.
But contrast that with the Niagara Gorge sighting. That did leave a mark.
A big one, a 15-foot wide circular patch of scorched ground, described as dry and ash-like, indicating intense, instantaneous heat. But, and this is critical, witnesses reported no scent of smoke or fire.
How can you have scorching ash without the smell of burning?
It defies normal combustion chemistry. It implies a heating process that's not based on oxidation, maybe intense microwave or other radiation, that desiccated and charred the material without actually setting it conventionally on fire. Thermodynamics of fire without the usual chemical byproducts.
If the phenomenon can mess with tech and time, the physiological impact has to be considered too, which brings in the abductee connection source.
A very chilling detail. One witness account involves waking up in a hospital with 3 days of missing time.
3 days.
3 days unaccounted for. And on their forearm, a cluster of tiny scars, perfectly round, looking like pinpricks arranged in a tight circle.
That sounds clinical, like some kind of procedure.
Exactly. It suggests a physical interaction occurred during that missing time. Something highly advanced, minimally traumatic physically, but resulting in memory loss and these precise markings. It implies the suppression we saw with technology extends to human memory and physiology too.
Okay, so after the event, there might be subtle traces, maybe missing time, maybe even physical marks. Then comes the cleanup crew, the surveillance, the MIB.
This is where it gets into truly high strangeness territory. This recurring pattern of individuals, usually men, often dressed in black suits or coats, who appear after significant sightings. Their behavior suggests they're monitoring witnesses and attempting to suppress or collect evidence.
It's like a human parallel to the 0-byte file corruption.
That's a great analogy. They seem to be the analog method for sanitizing the narrative, erasing tangible proof, and maybe even discouraging witnesses from talking.
The Dundee encounter you mentioned earlier sounds terrifyingly efficient. 2 witnesses, bus stop, they'd just seen a triangle.
And only they knew the specifics. Then this man in a black coat and suit appears, out of nowhere it seems, and asks this incredibly specific question: did the lights blink in sequence?
You didn't ask, what did you see?
No. He was probing for a very particular detail, something only they would know if they'd seen that specific object clearly. It implies he, or whoever he represented, already knew something had been seen there and was trying to confirm the type or details. How did he know who to approach? How did he know what to ask?
It suggests sophisticated, maybe immediate surveillance linked to the event itself.
Or access to information streams we don't understand. And the surveillance often ties back to those recurring numbers, especially 2.3 a.m.
The black sedan.
Yes, one source details a black sedan with tinted windows idling outside their house, repeatedly, always at the exact same time. 2:13 a.m. for over a week.
That timing can't be a coincidence, can it? Linking the MIB surveillance directly to the time signature seen in the tech glitches.
It strongly suggests a connection, a structured operational window that applies to both the phenomenon's effects and the subsequent cleanup or monitoring. It gets even more direct. 2 men in black suits and coats actually showed up on a witness's porch at 2:13 a.m.
What did they want?
They requested to review the original file, referring to the witness's documentation, and they explicitly stated they were not law enforcement in the familiar sense. Their language is described as corporate, detached, precise.
They seem focused on getting ahead of the evidence almost before it's even processed, like the ranger station incident.
Exactly. A man in black suit was found going through files before the witness, a volunteer ranger, had even uploaded or formally reported them. He knew what was in them and instructed the witness to redirect your research efforts away from the upper ridge, the location of the sighting. He was already there, accessing data that wasn't officially out yet.
It's like they have real-time access.
Yes.
But the most direct attempt at suppression, the card.
The delivery driver encounter. After witnessing something, they're approached by a man in a black suit who hands them a small, blank-looking card. As the driver takes it, the message, "Do not recall," briefly appears on it.
And then
the card instantly went blank again in the witness's hand.
do not recall. A direct instruction delivered via seemingly impossible tech that then vanishes.
It's the ultimate MIB signature, isn't it? A chilling parallel to the 0-byte files and the blank white frames. The phenomenon suppresses digital evidence. The MIB attempt to suppress organic, memory-based evidence using methods that are just as strange. The whole operation seems geared towards ensuring these localized reality bubbles leave no lasting trace, digital or psychological.
Okay, let's try to pull these threads together. The takeaways and conclusion. Moving past just lights in the sky, what defined these close contact encounters according to these sources?
I think 3 things really stand out consistently: precision, coordinated technological suppression, and temporal manipulation.
The precision. You mean the perfect movements, zero inertia.
That, yes. But also the precision in the effects. Fixed operational times like 2:13 a.m. showing up repeatedly. The surgically neat markings like the dew oval. Delivering immense energy like the scorching, but without the expected messy byproducts like smoke. It all points to technology operating with almost absolute control over fundamental forces.
And the technological suppression isn't just random interference. It seems specifically aimed at recordings, right?
Exactly. It targets the integrity of data, creating those 0-byte placeholders, the blank white frames. It seems designed to make it impossible to produce lasting, verifiable proof, especially of the time anomalies that happen concurrently.
Which connects directly to the temporal manipulation, the skip time, the clocks disagreeing.
Yes. The 17-minute jump, the 12-minute gap on the smartwatch. It strongly suggests that the local flow of time, what physicists call the space-time metric, can be briefly altered or interrupted in the vicinity of the phenomenon. Our trusted instruments end up telling different stories about when things happened.
Leaving the witness stuck with this impossible, unprovable experience.
And that seems to be the core experience. The MIB, or whoever they are trying to erase or discredit the evidence of time itself being malleable.
The sophistication of that counter-operation, the MIB part, is maybe the most unsettling takeaway for me. It implies there's an organized response.
A dedicated effort, it seems, focused on sanitizing the record. They monitor witnesses almost immediately. They target digital files sometimes before they're even shared. And they use bizarre methods like that do not recall card to try and suppress memory.
So the biggest secret might not be, are aliens visiting? It might be that reality itself, our clocks, our recordings, our very timelines can be locally paused, edited, and then restarted.
That's the implication, isn't it? They're not necessarily hiding beings. They might be hiding the capability. The fact that our fundamental reference points can be manipulated, leaving no external trace once the event is over.
It makes you think about that quote from one of the sources. Maps are guesses, not guarantees. We trust our tech, our GPS, our clocks, implicitly to tell us where and when we are.
And that trust relies on the silent, steady, consistent function of those systems. What happens when that consistency is demonstrably broken, even just locally and temporarily?
Which leads us to that final provocative thought. If these phenomena can snip 17 minutes out of one clock's timeline while another keeps running normally, how certain can we be about the integrity of the reality we do record?
Right. How much of our perceived recorded reality relies on that baseline consistency? If time can be briefly edited for one observer or one system, could smaller edits, smaller pauses happen without us even noticing? Who is verifying the seamless flow of the hours we think we experienced accurately?
It's a deeply unsettling question to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into these non-visual, high-strangeness signatures of UAP encounters.
And for you listening, maybe think about this. If you were trying to gather evidence for these patterns, what else could you look for? Beyond visuals, beyond audio recordings that might get wiped, could high-precision gravimeters detect ripples? Could residual radiation signatures correlate with that 2.13 a.m. window? What other subtle physical markers might persist?
Food for thought. Until next time, keep looking up. And maybe, keep a low-tech wind-up watch handy, just in case.